we got to make sure everything's running smooth. But if this is your first time here, my name is David Worrell. I am a momentum swing trader. I've been doing YouTube now for a little over 3 years. I've been trading now for about 6 years. So I hope everybody is excited. Today we have the futures opening after, well, you named it, the downgrade. We went from a AAA to a AA1, and everybody's talking about it. Moody's did this, Moody's said that, whatever. We got a lot to talk about today. We are going to go over the ETF and the SPY review. Of course, we have to talk about Bitcoin because this thing looks like it is primed to break out. And of course, we're going to talk about the Fed tool, those interest rates, folks. They have changed, and we just do a quick review on it, but we need to dive a little bit deeper because this is kind of a big deal at this point in time. So doesn't look like we're going to get 3 rate cuts. It's actually looking like 2, which is very interesting because there are so many people out there saying Powell's going to cut soon. He's going to cut sooner now. No, it actually, we'll dive a little deeper in there. But what is going on, folks? Let's see. Let's turn on some music. Let's get this party started. Ooh, that's loud in my ear. Let me know if it sounds good to you folks. We got a lot going on today. I'm pumped to be here. What's up, Zamora? The old beefy stew is in the building. Saeed, Smaid, what's going on? Good to see ya. Why the stock market futures going down? Yeah, we'll go over that in just a minute. Let everybody jump in. What's up? Jimmy Bright is in the building. It looks like we actually learned how to start the show this time. I'm so sorry. Last week was a debacle. But you're going to have that when you're live streaming. You're going to have it. It's A-okay. What's going on? It's good to see everybody. Yeah, baby. Beef Stew, we put the link tree out right then and there. If you guys are here, you're here for one reason and one reason only. And if you're watching this at a later time, that's totally fine. Watch it all the way through. You'll get all the insights that you need to keep yourself safe in the market. We use risk management here. I'm sure you guys are all sick of me saying it, but risk management is pinnacle to any trading longevity. If you want to trade, you have to have a trading account. And if you blow your account because you don't understand risk management or you are just gambling, then you are no longer a trader. You are a guy sitting on the sidelines wishing, hoping that he had capital or more capital to trade with. So make sure, if you want to learn how to trade like I do, or at least give yourself a template so you understand how to create a process from nothing, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. What is up? Carl Burr in the building. What is going on? Carl Burr, my man, my boy. Beef Stewie out here, the moderator. Give him a shout out. Make sure you go check out his Twitter account. We're going to check that out very, very soon. But guys, we're going to get this show started. We got like 2 minutes, and we're actually live this time. We're going to go over the NASDAQ. We're going to go over Bitcoin. We're going to go over gold. Powell. Of course, we're going to check out the old beefiest of stews. Goodness gracious. And before we even get started, the Norman Conklin comes in with another generous donation. He says, hello, David. Hello, everyone. Norman, thank you so much, brother. We absolutely love that. You're constant. I mean, huge support. I cannot ask for better support. I hope I can give to you as much as you have gave to me, brother. We are going to have an epic day today. 1 minute left until we get this party started. The old beefy Stewie charting platform right there in the bottom. You guys, I hope you're ready. I am pumped. I am ready. I have some amazing news to share with y'all about my account because it's been a long time since I decided to flip the switch. We're going margin. We're back up to the big boy account. Of course, if you guys remember, below the 21-day moving average, we have been out. We have been waiting for better market conditions, and we have had those market conditions the past 3 weeks, and we have been making money, and now we are on a power trend, baby. A power trend. We'll talk more about it in just a second. Let's get it, baby. All right, I got to say this first and foremost, Norman, again, thank you for the generous donation. You have donated so much, so frequently. I got to give you a private. So if you're interested, let me know when you have an hour free. We're going to sit you aside and maybe we can go over some process, maybe something I can get better at, or you could get better at, or something that we could work on together. Either way, Norman, make sure you reach out to me, and we are gonna get ourselves one-on-one. I'd like to know a little bit more about how you're doing, how you're trading, brother, for sure. What up? G, my man. What's going on, JFA? Good to see you in the building. Guys, we got to get right into it. The first thing we got to do is this ETF and SPY review because the futures are open.
This is your ETF and S&P 500 review.
All right, guys, so the futures has opened, and of course, with the downgrade from Moody's from a AAA credit rating, we are now down to a low score of a AA1. I don't care how you want to see or how you want to take this in, how you want to ingest this. All I care about is how the overall market ingests this data. And you guys can see here the NASDAQ futures. We're taking a little peeky gander at, and it actually opened up still above our close. So I'll be honest with you with that, and I seen that, and I seen I think my full account, I was up 1.5% at the end of the day on Friday, and then we seen the Moody's come out, the Moody's rating and the credit change, and I was down 0.5% in my account. So it was one of those things where it's like, is this gonna make or break my weekend? Hell no, I could care less. I'm gonna worry about this on Sunday, and here we are on Sunday. And I noticed that we not only pulled back, but if you notice, we opened up actually above previous days opening. So what that tells me is that we're not taking it so serious. Now, of course, I'm expecting a pullback. When we're extended like this in the overall market, I'm expecting pullbacks. Just like this, we were extended. I expected a pullback. We got said pullback. Now we have a little piece of news, right? Because so far we have gotten nothing but good news. You know, tariffs are cooling down, tariff pausing, tariff this, tariff that. You know, all the fear is being let up, you know, China talks, yada, yada, yada. And then we finally get a piece of news where, oh, the credit rating's bad. I think the overall market knew that we're having some issues with our credit because we are amassing trillions and trillions of debt. It's not any real new news, but how the market takes it is how we need to ingest it. And right now, it doesn't look like it's something crazy. It doesn't look like that not something that I need to be worrying about. Now, if this thing gapped down below a 21-day moving average and we didn't get a significant bounce, yes, I would be a little bit more nervous. But right now, we are ingesting this negative news pretty well as we are still well extended. We need something to pull us down. So, of course, I always want the market to continue higher, but we need something to pull us back. We can't have a runaway bull market like this, or we're going to get too much volatility. Let's get some sideways action or even a little bit of a pullback. So this whole Moody's change, this whole Moody's rating, why is it so significant? Why is everybody talking about it? Because it's the only bad news we've had in weeks. So let it happen, let it play out. Don't worry about the overall market. Make sure you're using risk management. If you are in some of the trades that I have talked about in our Discord or that we have gone over before in previous Sundays, you will find out that you're in a leader. These leaders should not pull back hard or fast. They should hold up, they should find support, and you should have found proper risk management at those pivot points so that way you can endure those pullbacks. So hopefully you're playing those right. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin because I think that this is absolutely beautiful. This spot right here, 108, this 108,000 is the basing breakout or the simple breakout area, but you can see here, we've had a nice trend breakout bouncing off that 10-day moving average, breaking this new monthly highs, and you can see we are pulling back, but it is looking good. Seeing an inverse correlation lately with Bitcoin and the overall NASDAQ. If you guys remember, Bitcoin started to take off and started to climb much higher when the overall market was still pulling back. So Bitcoin has the inverse correlation or a separate correlation altogether in the overall market. Jolene's in the building. Now it's a party. What's going on, Jolene? It's good to have you here. What's going on? What's up, Yosef? It's good to see you in here as well. Guys, we have an awesome awesome show for you guys tonight. I really feel like we're on the cusp of a new breakout with Bitcoin, as we are on a cusp of a short-term pullback with the overall NASDAQ. Now, of course, I could be wrong on both accounts. They both could go the opposite of what I'm saying, but we have alerts set, and my alert went off on Bitcoin breaking this 105,500. It's an important level to break, especially when you have a trending area, a high tight flag, if you will, in this area, now forming a cup with handle. This is a basing breakout that we absolutely love to see. Now, if we look at all the rest of the market, sure, we're going to see a lot of similar breakouts. We're going to see a lot of pushes up, a lot of meaningful pushes higher. But why are we looking at Bitcoin? Because it led this market higher. Now, if you are looking at Bitcoin and you're trying to take a trade on Bitcoin, of course, play Bitcoin, right? But if you don't have a cold storage wallet, or you're a boomer like myself, I don't know, I call myself a boomer, I'm not, but I am kind of stuck in my ways on things. I play things like MSTR using MSTU, and we can go into that later because I exited my previous trade with over 60% gain, but now I'm looking for another basing breakout. My strategy is now setting back up again and getting ready to get me back into this market. So a trade idea on this Bitcoin breakout is MSTR using MSTU, and that is going to be a beautiful play. Of course, the chart looks like absolute dog crap right now, but we aren't using this chart to play. We're using Bitcoin and MSTR to play this chart. And as you can see, we exited this out for a beautiful win. But this base at this 528.30 area, if it gets out above this and is in correlation to this 444, look at this price action, people. If it breaks out above, we're talking about the second leg higher, trying to get to those new all-time highs at 542. Now, if it can reach it there, I will definitely be taking off half of my shares. Or if we reach, obviously I like that 20%, the first gain on 20%, which correlates around that $480 level. You take out half, set your stop to break even, and let it continue playing. But you need to wait for the basing breakout, people. Don't buy premature entries can cost you big money. It really can. It really, really can. Wait for the volume, my friends. All right, next up, I just want to look and go over IWM. I just want to show you guys it's still below a 200-day moving average. NASDAQ still below, the moving average is starting to line up. Bitcoin been much, much higher. The QQQs still leading the way as we are trying to get this 50-day above the 200-day moving average. But because we have been above a 21-day moving average for multiple days, we are on a power trend now, folks, a power trend. That's absolutely beautiful. The only other thing I really want to look at here is, let me take a little peek, see. We can look at gold while we're here. Guys, I called this top out on gold. Of course, I always could be wrong. I've talked about this with B. Stewie. I was bearish on gold in this area because there was a lot of people talking about gold. But now we are seeing these gapping up areas, and as we've read in, How to Take Profits in How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill, he talks about the capitulating tops where they're gapping up and going. This is when, volatility starts to get a little crazy, and that's why I call this as the top. We're going to see if it's the top or if we find a base here at the 50-day moving average. So we will see very, very soon. But there was something, the RSP. So I love looking at the equally weighted because it kind of shows that one area isn't just dragging us higher. So if you remember, I think it was 2022, the only thing that was carrying us higher was tech stocks, the QQQs. That was the only thing taking the S&P 500, and you could see it in the RSP. The RSP showed that it wasn't equally weighted. There was just one sector that was dragging us up, and it happened to be technology again, okay? Now, the RSP, the equally weighted, is showing that we are above all moving averages. We're above a 200-day moving average, and we're right into an area of resistance. Again, I think we are going to pull back. We are still a bit extended, but I do like where we are at, and I do love to see when we open up the data and we see the price action, the market did not just gap down on this news. It did not just flood. It held up. It's still holding in this area, and it really hasn't had too much of a change. So we'll see what happens, but I think that this overall is a good thing for the market as we need to kind of cool off a little bit, let more people take profits, more people start to buy in, and show more people that their fear of missing out is real. All right, now we are gonna go over, I got it written down. Oh, we need to take a little peek-see at the old CME Fed tool because something has changed, and this is why we review this, folks, because when things change with the Fed rate cuts, we need to know about it. So let's make sure we go over the interest rates. Interest rates with Jerome Powell.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, so this is the CMEgroup.com. You can go here. It's very easy, CMEgroup.com, and you can find the interest rates on here. This gives you kind of the understanding of what the overall sentiment is in the interest rate cuts. And if you guys have been following me for any amount of time, we have been right on these interest rate cuts time and time again. Why? Because we follow the interest rate Fed tool. It has been right, I would say 80% of the time. There was a surprise double rate cut that wasn't foreseen for the extra month, but it's within a good time frame, and it kind of shows where the overall sentiment is. And so I just always like to skip right to December. And if you look here in December, right now, our targeting range is 4.25 to 4.50. And you can see here by the end of the year, we're only looking at 2 rate cuts, okay? Now, for a long time, we've been around that 37 to 40% on 3 rate cuts, okay? This, now we are seeing we are only looking at 2 rate cuts by the end of the year. So aside from what you are hearing on the YouTubes and what you're hearing on, you know, all these clickbait titles, no, Jerome Powell has been staying the course for quite some time, as his idol is Paul Volcker, the Fed that had to stay the charge with interest and fought inflation. So he is going to stay the rates. He is going to stay his charge. And we're only looking at 2 rate cuts now by the end of the year, which is kind of a bit of change in sentiment. It should put a little bit more weight on the overall market, but I haven't really seen it happen in the overall market yet as we continue to rip tater chip. So I want you guys to just be aware that the old Papa Powell has been staying the course. He has been saying the same old hum, but he has also been saying that with all the different trades and everything that's happening, there is uncertainty. He's been using that word a lot. So with that uncertainty, he is more likely in this case to stay the course or to keep the rates the same until he has a better understanding as more data pools in, as more of these tariffs take place. Okay? Okay. So with that being said, I think we have to take a little bit, we have to take a little break here. Let me take a little sip of water and we'll check on the old beefy stew, shall we?
Oh, I see you over there. You got problems? We've got the beef.
My friend, my comrade, my amigo, my homie, my dude, my pimp, my player, my guy. Is that enough? Is that a big enough intro? This is the old beefy stew, folks. And if you guys don't know Beef Stew, get to know Beef Stew. He's got amazing charting. He charts quite like I do, but he adds a lot of other golden tickets like anchored VWAP, point of control. He also got quarterly sales and EPS growth and a catchy little picture next to some of these stocks. Now, some of them that I thought were very, very interesting, and we are going to go over very soon here as well, if I can find it. Oh, don't you know, it's the old Bitcoin. He charted this out beautifully. Absolutely love this. This is exactly why I was looking at this. Simply, the point of control has been broken and we are nearing in those all-time highs. As you guys know, the $100,000 area is a psychological area, and he charted this out beautifully as we have an ascending trend line on the daily time frame, creating new higher lows, and then of course the psychological $100,000 area level breaking, the point of control breaking, and now we have a beautiful trending breakout that has now happened on the Bitcoin futures. or I shouldn't say Bitcoin futures, Bitcoin. It trades yeah, along by itself. So I thought that this was very interesting. And I also see this one month time frame. I try to replicate this on my chart. I didn't see it nearly as well, but I do like this. It looks very, very good. And you can see we're on a nice uptrend and a point that is getting tight here. So I like that. And of course, I'm always chatting with him on the sides. I absolutely love. He helps keep me sane. I like bouncing ideas off Beef Stewie. You can see here, what a beautiful chart here, as well as Nvidia. Is Nvidia really looking like this? Did it really pop up that high? I've not looked at Nvidia in a while, and this is a great reason why I like to keep an eye on his charting, because when he starts to look at some of these leaders like this, it makes me, oh wow, I haven't looked at this in a while. I'll tell you what I see on Nvidia though. What I see on Nvidia is a dreaded head and shoulders pattern here. Now this might not be head and shoulders to the perfect T, but I see an area of resistance here, and we will see if it plays out how I expect it to. But I was just telling B Stewie, I think this big boat still needs some time to rest and time to cool. And I don't think it's going to be a leader like it was previous. It is doing a hell of a good job in the chip sector, but you want to see a leader in the chip sector, just take a look at AEVA. Holy rip tater chip. But we can always come back to that very, very soon. There's another one that I wanted to take a look at on here. And if you guys don't follow him, you really need to. He looks at a little bit of everything, and something is going to catch your eye for sure. SLNO, so this one's good. There's a lot of therapeutics out there. I think I have one on the leaderboard list we can take a look at. But SLNO, this is a nice looking stock. Definitely one to keep on your radar. But one thing I want to point out, the therapeutics here, we can look at the technical analysis all day. But what turns me off on these kind of stocks, because wow, basing breakout, ascending trend line, it's got all the characteristics, but this is why I don't look at these. The EPS, the sales growth, and the earnings, just absolute dog crap of a ticker, So if I'm gonna leave my money in something overnight, but again, and we all know, B Stewie is just charting. We're playing the technical analysis pattern on this. Maybe over time, maybe you start looking at something a little different, when it comes to the financials. And if you start picking away and start finding things that you might like that are a little better in those financials, you might not want to play therapeutic stocks. But either way, great technicals, love the charting, and a huge shout out to my boy, the beefiest of stews, Beef Stewie. If you haven't already, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the chat right meow. Go ahead and click on that right now, give him a follow. He is absolutely amazing. Anyway, enough talking about that turd. Let's talk about let's talk about me, okay? I got a link tree too. It's right here. It's not as cool, it's not as sexy, but if you want the same charting platform that I am using right now, click on my link tree because I'm way cooler than Beef Stewie. I also have my Twitter in there and my Snapchat if you guys want to follow me on a more personal level. But anyway, I want to get back into it, guys. We want to focus on the leaders. I always talk about focusing on the leaders, and that is what we are going to do today. So let's focus on the dang leaders right meow. I got quite a few leaders that I want to go over. Now, guys, we have had G in the chat asking the most awesome questions, guys. And some of these I kind of just want to go over with you because he's got such good questions. You can tell he's been in the market for quite some time. Just remember, if it says best setups up here or leaders, these are just watch lists. It doesn't matter what it says. It might say, yeet skeetily do up here. It does not matter. These are your leaders watch lists. And one of the main ones that we really need to keep an eye on is Netflix, okay? We're gonna see a lot of these, and if you guys want me to talk about a specific ticker, just throw it in the chat right now. We'll go over them after the leaders, and I'll make sure I go over everything. But guys, I think you're gonna agree with me. I have the leaders. If you guys focus on these leaders and you forget about them, a lot of times you'll just make money. But make sure you have a risk management and a tolerance on a time frame that is suitable for you in your trading and your process, okay? So let's go over these right now. Netflix, I like Netflix. I love the basing breakout. I took the basing breakout on NFLU. NFLU, beautiful basing breakout here. I took it right here at that 57.24 area. Let me just double check, make sure I'm not lying to you. NFLU, let me see here. 58, it looks like I took it at. So 58.12 is where I actually took that trade. So 58.12, so a little bit above the basing breakout, but it was within my range here. So I like the basing breakout. Now, why am I talking about Netflix? Netflix led the market. If you guys were not here for this beautiful the earnings here, the overall market was still trading sideways or down, and Netflix said, hold my beer or hold my popcorn, you know, let's Netflix and not chill. And it just started to rip tater chip to the north side. It was absolutely beautiful, and now it's continuing to run. As the overall market does a small pullback or just trade sideways, Netflix says, I got better ideas. And right here, we can take this beautiful girl here, and we're gonna just have her hold up our new trade on Netflix. If you guys remember, we played Netflix here the last time, this trending breakout, as we made a beautiful lump sum on that trade. And now Netflix is deciding to lead the market once again, as it did in 2021. Now, Duolingo was another leader that had earnings, and it started to lead the market before the market decided to follow. And Duolingo is pushing much higher. Now, I don't see a trade on Netflix tomorrow. I don't see a trade on Duolingo tomorrow, but we want to keep an eye on these leaders so when they and if they do set up once again, we can take that trade. Let me know right now in the chat, have you guys or are you guys holding Duolingo or are you holding Netflix? And if you are holding Netflix, let me know what price you got in at and why. Please let me know in the chat, baby. We need to get you guys chatting. We need to get you guys talking because we want you guys to be a big part of this YouTube channel. So Duolingo, I know we've been talking about it. It's been over and over again, but for some reason, I have not put this on the leaderboard. Same thing as Netflix. Like, we just knew that they were taking off, and it's just like, okay, let them go. But I didn't put it on the leaderboards, so that's shame on me. Let me know. Have you guys taken a piece of Netflix or Duolingo? Let me know. And of course, you do not talk about a bull market without bringing up PLTR. PLTR is doing absolute amazing things. Of course, you can't talk about PLTR without talking about CRWV now. Now, I know that it has been brought up multiple times to me in our Discord, CRWV. And sometimes I am very thick-skulled because I have my group of leaders that I like to watch, and I don't let any new friends in. Now, this is one of these exceptions. I have seen and heard about it so many times. It is so dang prevalent. We need to keep an eye on this. I think a lot of people are watching it, and we are going to see what happens. But right now, you cannot take a trade on CoreWeave. You can't. It's just capitulating higher, right? I mean, we are storming to the north side. You need to wait for a base or a trend breakout before you can get into something like this, but definitely have it on your watch list. Another big one that I know Torque was talking about multiple times is Spotify. This is a beautiful basing area, also known as a cup with handle, but I like it being called as a basing breakout. It's what I like to play. And you can see new higher lows on an ascending trend pattern. Look at right here, off these lows, right up here at these highs, a beautiful ascending trend line as it's starting to get tighter. Now, I don't like all this chop. Very choppy, wide range. We'd like to see this thing get tighter. You know, I even showed you on here best case scenario, and it looks like it's starting to play out that way. We just need a couple more days. We drew this out a few weeks ago, if you guys remember. And look, here's our best case scenario. It is starting to play out. It is looking very good. B. Stewie, Jolene, neither one of you guys played it? That's a-okay. There's going to be plenty. I know that you guys are playing plenty of other stuff, and this is one of the things. Guys, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I think even last week. Carl Burr, Carl Burr and I had a meeting about this. I told him, I said, if I have conviction in any trade, it's going to be Hood. I think Hood is the new Charles Schwab. All the young people are using it. Also used in what helped help me amplify this idea would be Marty Chargin. I got to give credit where credit's due. He is talking about this. He's saying the same ideas about this, but what I loved on a technical pattern was this basing breakout. And if you guys remember, I got in this basing breakout this day, got stopped out the next day as it ripped higher. And you know, it is what it is, folks. I'm totally fine with it. It's gonna happen. You can't kiss all the babies like some of the top dogs say. You can't kiss them all. But I know some of you guys are still holding this beautiful, beautiful stock, and now it is forming a cup with handle. Best case scenario, folks, would be another couple of inside days before we yeet skeetily do as these moving averages start to catch up. Now, I love Hood. I still am a firm believer in Hood, but where can I get in? I kind of need to wait. I'm anticipating this. Yeah, PLTR is a cash cow. Absolutely, dude. GEV is another one. We've been watching this for quite some time. Vernova. This is electrical produce, newer stock. As you can see here, we just came out April 2024, March of 2024. And this thing is just making big moves. So GEV, I know that Beef Stewie has charted this one out multiple times. There's been quite a few stocks that he's charted out that's been doing some amazing things. But GEV, I know, was one of those. And you can see a beautiful cup. Another handle starting to form here. You're going to see that on a lot of stocks. Now, we cannot go anywhere about talking about MSTR. I just want to go over my trade really, really quick because I'm looking to replicate this exact same trade. Now, guys, if we zoom in on this trade, you're going to see this is my risk to reward here. I was risking the low of this day on a 5-minute opening range breakout, and look at this risk to reward. Actually, at the top, my highest risk to reward when I exited half of this trade was 63R. 63R, meaning, and you can make up whatever number you want. If I risked $1, I made $63 to that $1 that I risked. If I risked $1,000, I made $63,000 compared to that $1,000. So you can use the R calculation and percentages to help you better understand so it's more relative to you, okay? So I made 63R on a portion of this trade on about 1/5 of this trade, 40% on 1/5 and 35% I think on the last 2/5, if I remember right. Now, MSTR is sitting up again. It doesn't look like it on this chart, but if we go back and look at Bitcoin, you guys will have a firm understanding that Bitcoin is now trading above this area. And if we have an opening range breakout once again, and we see volume come in for MSTR like we did previous, I'm gonna wanna take that opening range breakout using the low of days and using risk management. So keep an eye on MSTR as another trade here, because this basing breakout at 425 on volume can be a very, very serious trade. And we can, again, nab another 62R trade. Holy cow. I was actually talking to B. Stewie, and I keep saying it's 42R, but actually I took it out at 42R, at 54R, but my biggest chunk that I took out was at 62R. And so I'm going to continue to say that because it's like, I'm not going to tell you about all the fish I caught, but the biggest fish I caught, I sure as hell am going to tell you about it. Next up is HIMS, H-I-M-S. This is, I call this Jolene stock because I remember we took this off the leaderboard list back here. I actually learned a valuable lesson from this stock because it was just below that 50-day moving average, but it was still holding out. So a lot of the times when we have pullbacks in the market, I don't want to take out the leaders so quickly unless they're really, really bucking the trend. And HIMS took off without me, but we had Sweet Jolene in the building holding onto that one and kicking ass and taking names. And now it's doing big things once again as EPS and sales growth is still kicking ass. But if we look at the oversold, overbought, you can see the last time we were up in this overbought area, we headed down. So again, like I am seeing in the overall market, the overall NASDAQ futures, we are wanting to pull back. We need to cool down so we can let people take profits and new buyers step in, and we can see a rotation in that volatility. Let it contract, let it get tight, and let it rip tater chip again. I would say best case scenario on this volatile stock would be to trade within a range and get tight maybe over the course of the next few days or next few weeks. All right, so we'll see what happens with HIMS. Now, I have been watching Bro, not Bros. We will look at Bros though, but look at Bro. Bro was an insurance company, right? And it was leading the market. I was also looking at Root. which was also leading the market, but neither one of those are looking good anymore. And I'm getting ready to take Root off my leaders list, as what really started to take off and lead the overall leaders is this SKWD, another insurance group. And G had a great question, is how do I choose my leaders? Well, I'll look at the sector, and if something catches my eye, I'll look at a few other ones, and I'll start adding more to that sector, and I'll figure out which one is leading. Well, now for a long time, BRO was leading the insurance group. Then we've seen Root leading the insurance group. And now as both of those fail after earnings, you can see the EPS growth on SKWD came out with significant gains on EPS and sales growth. And they now are showing me that they are the leader. This is another basing breakout, a beautiful, beautiful basing breakout. This is what I consider picture perfect, just like I do on AEVA, which is your leader in the chip sector. SKWD has an ascending trend line rising up, as you can imagine it, and we have 3 new higher lows, 1, 2, and 3. As it gets tighter and forms a base at 55.87, basing breakout right here after earnings, so we can safely get into this, and it continues higher, holding a 10-day moving average. If you would have gotten into this at that basing breakout, currently you would be up 13% on this trade. If you guys like to know, 20% is where I like to at least take a quarter to a half of my trade out. So you are over halfway there on that trade. So SKWD looking good. Now, one thing I have been preaching about is software. Absolutely been trying to make sure we keep an eye on those cybersecurities. CRWD, I finally have some good news about my trade. I thought, is CRWD leading? Is Cecil? Is Rubrik leading? You know, is this too close to a PLTR or a Coral Weave? You know, so what I decided to do was focus on CrowdStrike, the former leader, and see how it's acting as it's really setting up here. Now, CrowdStrike could do well. It could do very well at this basing breakout area. But to me, it's a big boat, right? It's a big boat of a stock. It's you know, it's doing well, but it's, you know, quarterly earnings are starting to slowly decrease. It's just a big boat. How much bigger can this boat get? I much rather look at something a little smaller like Cecil that's moving much quicker. That's a newer company. Now, I can't get into Cecil because this isn't forming a base right now. It's forming a base, but not a long enough base that I would want to get into. But I did take Rubrik on this basing breakout right here. I consider this a simple base breakout, as we don't we're forming new higher lows, but it's just a double top here and we break out above it. I entered this trade with not as much conviction as I probably should have, because we're a little extended from this 10-day moving average, but I decided to take it anyway, and here we are holding onto RBRK as it is making new all-time highs, as CrowdStrike is not. It's still getting tighter, but I still think CrowdStrike has plenty of time to rip tater chip. Let me know, guys, in the chat right now, what is your biggest holding? You know, I know a few of you guys. I know what you guys are holding, what your biggest holding is, but I'm really curious. I know currently right now RBRK is my biggest holding, and that is because I have completely sold out of MSTU. That was my biggest holding, and now I have cash, and I'm waiting for the right time to get in. And that's kind of the big news, is that we are on a power trend right now, and IBD labels that power trend as being above that 21-day moving average for, I think it's 10 to 12 days, and we have now made it there. And usually this is the time where we want to push the gas. We want to push onto that gas pedal and really watch our money make, you know, 10, 20-fold, right? Guys, we want to make big money, and now's the time to really press that freaking gas. Jolene says Serve is her biggest holding right now. Look at this beautiful push up off these lows as earnings came in and showed that it was fruitful off these lows. Definitely a different style of trading. As you guys know, I don't like to play anything below a 200-day moving average, but you can see these new higher lows starting to form, getting above all the moving averages, and you can see the volume came in after earnings. So this bottom low here is looking really good. I really like the trade. Not my type of trade, but again, you cannot argue with this momentum holding very well and now above a 200-day moving average. Let's see. Christian Harris says Google is his biggest holding. GOG. So I like to hear that, as Google also, this is kind of a bottom fish here, not my type of trade, but you can know, or you can see here, it's also holding out these new higher lows here, and it's forming this base. It just got above that base, but still closing below a 200-day moving average. So if Google starts to take off, and their chips are true, and what they are foreseeing for their future is true, and they can keep up with AI, Google has a good future. Just not my type of trade because there's no momentum currently in this stock. Where is my EPS actually? Or my, oh, see, the RS rating is only 48. You know, so it's just a slow mover right now. Serve, the RS rating is 92, so it's doing a little bit better, but thank you for sharing that with me. Yeah, Google is definitely one. You know, we've been watching this for quite some time. We played it up here at this basing breakout, made money in these 2 days, and then exited right before earnings. So, you know, it's kind of funny watching this because I was drooling over this basing breakout. We made a little bit money, but that's why we have risk management in place. We made money on half and then stopped at break even on the last half. Happy to take it. What else we got? B. Stewie, you are not trading PBF. You're a liar. You are a liar. You're not in PBF. I know you're a damn liar. Jolene said it was an earnings play. SERV actually looks like a great earnings play. Obviously, they capitulated after earnings, the day after earnings, and as it continued higher. And we love to look at those earnings plays. The earning continuations plays absolutely cash. And I'm actually in an earnings continuation play, TSSI. Actually, if you guys were with me in the chat, we played an opening range breakout on TSSI. I'll just bring it up on this here. It actually ended up coming all the way back, which is kind of embarrassing to show you. I want to show you, you know, how well I was doing on this trade, up, you know, like 60-something% on it first day. But look at the volume on this thing on the daily time frame. Just, it traded more volume than it ever has. 30 million shares in a day. Absolutely beautiful. So I decided to take in the opening range breakout because this is an episodic pivot. They absolutely killed it on their earnings, and the volume that came in was just enormous. So this is the type of earnings play I like to see. Humongous volume, and then we're trading off of that. And we played the opening range breakout. I believe I played the 5-minute opening range breakout on this. But yes, I absolutely love these opening range breakouts. Right here it is, 5-minute opening range breakout. You can see we used this low as our stop out, and it took off here. And if we look at serve at that same type of time frame, let's see if the opening range breakout would have played out on this. So we come back here and we just hover over earnings here, and you can see first thing in the morning, what happened here? First thing in the morning, a crazy amount of volume. And right here, if you would have played the 5-minute opening range breakout, or let's say in this case, 1-minute opening range breakout, I told Stewie earlier today, I love playing the 1-minute opening range breakout because it gives you much better risk to reward. And you can see if you were fast, you could have grabbed this 1-minute opening range breakout here, and you could have made some damn good money. Look at this opening range breakout. Now you see all of this volume coming in would have screamed for you to get into this trade, and you can see it's set up on a 1-minute time frame, another trending area for a breakout, as it did, and it continued higher, now serving much higher. We zoom out on the 1-hour time frame, and you can see what a stinking move here. On a 1-minute opening range breakout, you could be up, as of today, up 44% already. Jolene, you played the 3-minute opening range breakout. Let's fucking go, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Earnings play, and you played serve, and you played an opening range breakout. Serve was earnings. EP took 1/4 at 20%, 1/4 at 40%. This is what I'm fucking talking about, guys. Excuse my language. I could care less. I am pumped right now. This is what I'm talking about, guys. You want to learn how to trade? You want to learn how to play? This right here is how to do it. Serve. Opening range breakout after she sees the volume. She plays a 3-minute opening range breakout. Yeet, skeetily do. Up, took money out into the pushes higher. We take out into strength. Boom, she's taken out at 20. She's taken out at 40%. She's kicking ass, she's taking names. That's what I'm talking about. I got goosebumps. Woo, let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about, guys. I could sit here and talk about me all day long. I could talk about my opening range breakouts, but what I like to see is that we're learning from our losses. We're learning each and every day. We're getting better each and every day. And when we get these amazing traders trading and taking amazing trades, that's what we like to see. Making money, baby. Let's freaking go, Jolene. Let's go. I am pumped. What else we got? Norman says NVDL. So let's take a look at NVIDIA. So he's playing NVDL, which is a 2x leverage of NVDA. And you can see here, NVDA had a basing breakout down here at 114.41. Be careful because the earnings are coming out on the 28th. That's going to be very interesting. Now, I am looking at NVIDIA and, I've called the, head and shoulders on this thing, and I don't think it's much of a leader right now, but you can't argue with price action as it broke out of this basing breakout and we're above all moving averages. So we're going to see what happens with NVIDIA. But yeah, it was a previous leader. We're going to see if it wants to continue higher. Just be very careful in this area of resistance. Like I said, everything looks like, to me, it needs to pull back. We need some time to digest. Look, Doc said, oh, and I was looking at sound as I do every few months, and I'm seeing a few reasons to look for an entry there too. Let's take a look at sound while we're talking about it. Loke said also he keeps playing with TDUP and just added some to Bros. So we do need to look at Bros, and we need to finish the leader list. I just wanted to kind of switch things up a little bit for you guys. But yeah, Soundhound, just doing Soundhound things, coming off these lows. This could happen, guys. This thing could happen. One thing I do like to look at, though, is when we're looking at old leaders or previous leaders, is what the RS rating like. That's what's going to tell us. Now, we know the AI theme is still intact and everything is still working out. And look at this, 98 RS rating. It's fine to look at, and it does look like these new higher lows. It does have a basing area that it did break out of, and we are seeing volume come in. So, Soundhound is looking and doing as Soundhound does. Just keep in mind, we do have resistance above. I think there are better stocks out there to play, but Sound is definitely one that makes or break people's bank account. Yosef says Uber, yes, and we are actually getting to Uber on that leaderboard list. The reason why I didn't bring it up right away is just because, just like a lot of other things, it's really taking off. We showed you the basing breakout right before earnings, and earnings came back down and retested it. I actually brought this up in chat. This is probably the best or the worst time to buy this stock, right? Usually the retests are one of the hardest things to buy. Those retests, the psychological area where, oh, well, I could have bought it lower, and oh, now it's coming back, it's hard to buy. It's hard to buy, and finding that risk reward here is hard for me too. I think when I look at things on retest, I need to say, well, if it breaks below and we get above it, risk that day's low. Playing something like that. But also there was a trend breakout as a basing breakout. You could have got that. That's a double whammy. Either way, Uber, I'm telling you, if you're holding Uber, Yosef, congratulations to you, because Uber is looking absolutely phenomenal right now. And just as we continue to go over the leaders, I just want to step back really quick, look back at the ES, see where we are at. And as I chat, guys, we are still closing above the previous Friday's open. We are still looking good, even on this Moody's bull crap. This bull crap rating, who cares? It's like saying, oh, you guys had the best rating and now you have a slightly less. We all know that, our rating is correct. I really think that this bad news is going to be handled well. And if it's not handled well, we would have already seen it. We would have seen a gap down. We would have seen the rest of the world decide that they're going to pull money out of the market because the rating sucks, right? Jolene says, I've had others stop me out quick. Yeah, I agree. Smash the like button. Have you? Thank you, Jolene. Much appreciated. Look, Doc said, appreciate the look, homie. Hey, man, anytime. Sometimes I like to look. Some people, and it doesn't really matter. It's just my opinion. You might be looking at it a different time frame, but it's just what I see. It doesn't say, I'm not saying what I see is right or wrong, but yeah, absolutely. Jolene also says, Yosef, your charting and analysis is amazing. It is great that we are surrounded by such smart and amazing individuals. That is why we have decided to make the Discord invite only, folks. So if you're trying to get into the Discord, you're going to have to find a way to reach out to one of us in order to get that invite. We decided to go invite only to help reduce the spammers. Remember, spammers are out there everywhere. I will not ever reach out or message you in any way to contact you. You would have to contact me. And if you want to contact me, just go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and you can reach out to me at David Worrell, the number 8 at gmail.com for any inquiries for mentorships or any questions at all for sponsorships. We have 12 votes on the poll. What is most likely to lead tomorrow? Gold, SPY, QQQs, or Bitcoin? It looks like 42% of you agree with me. I think Bitcoin is going to lead us in the charge tomorrow. I really do, but we will see. I've been wrong many times before, and as I have fought gold, even the basing breakouts, we made money on them, folks. So we'll see. I am a bear with bull horns. I always expect the market to go higher, but I am not naive to know we can always swipe down. So the ES is looking good still at this opening. We'll go back to the leaderboards and we'll see what is going on over there. We still have plenty of stuff to chat about. So if you guys have anything in mind that you want to see, let me know. Put it in the chat. We love to chat about tickers. I don't know where I'm going with that. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where the hell my list is. All right, so let's continue on. So Take Two Interactive. If you guys didn't already know, you know that news came out. We played off that news. Big bounce. EPS and sales growth came out. You know, this is Grand Theft Auto 6, and it was leading the market. It's looking really good. I want to continue to keep an eye on this as it's still holding above a 10-day moving average. Chip Chaser Media Group, I'm expecting 4% or more by morning. And is that on Bitcoin, Chip Master, or Chip Chaser? Let me know. Is that on Bitcoin that you're talking about? But yeah, you know, I'm expecting a gap up. I think people are going to get excited. And it's going to go much higher. Here's Uber. We talked about Uber. Congrats to you, Joseph, for constantly locking in those profits on your runners. We talked about Root. Here's Dash. Now, Dash, I still think could be a leader in the market, but obviously Uber has taken the range. But Dash has this beautiful basing breakout. Mama's in the building. What's going on? It's good to see you. Chip Chaser says SPY. You're expecting a gap up on the SPY. I like to hear that. I really would like to see a pullback, and I love to have the opposite biasy. So I'm kind of expecting a pullback. I like to see that you're expecting a 4% gap up. That would be very, very cool to see. And you know, I always want to see the market head higher. Mama's in the chat. What's going on? My mom is moving back to Michigan, baby. Welcome back to the great state of Michigan, where we are surrounded by the greatest lakes. The greatest state surrounded by the greatest lakes. Bye-bye, Missouri. I always said Missouri is miserable. Get your ass to Michigan, baby. She's going to be here in about 3 days, depending on the time zone that you're in, and I am pumped to have you back. Oh, Chip Chaser come back in. He said, no, gap down. He said, no, I never said that, bro. My bad, dude. My bad. I just read that you said I'm expecting 4% or more by morning, so we didn't know. We didn't have a direction. I was hoping you had the opposite biasy of me. But it looks like we both agree we're expecting a gap down. 4% is quite a bit of a gap down. Hopefully it's not that far, but we'll probably still be above a 21-day moving average, even with that kind of gap down. So we got room to play with, but I agree with you. I agree with you, bro. I agree. LTH is another one, guys. Well, let me just go back to Dash. I want to talk a little bit about this. This has been trading sideways since February, so we got about almost a 5-month base on this thing. As you guys know, the best breakouts I have found have been in about a 6-month basing breakout area. This also has a nice psychological $210 area on this. So Dash, with it not really leading like Uber is, I still think Dash has a great area for momentum right here at this basing breakout. So keep a very close eye on 207, 210, this area. You could probably find a great area for risk management in that area. Let's see. LTH now is another one. I'm getting ready to take this off my leaderboard list because it's made it below all these moving averages. It is not leading. It's not looking very good, but I really like this basing breakout right here. But earnings, as you guys know, it ruins everything. We weren't in this because earnings came out in the next few days. I was waiting for capitulation higher. LTH didn't do it. Deleted. Goodbye. Elfitazane. Oklo is another one we're keeping an eye on. This is in the industrial minery. Just keep a close eye on this one as earnings capitulated at higher. If you guys like the earnings plays, earnings continuations, and earnings growth, you can see this one on Oklo. If it bases out or forms a trend, we might be able to find our way in. Now, Bros is another one. I know you guys were bringing this up earlier. Somebody brought up Bros. Either way, we are looking at Bros, and Bros is doing really good. I'm seeing a lot of sentiment. Like, a lot of people like this coffee. I know Jolene has passed it and seen, you know, lines up outside of it. I've seen videos of people just lined up for this Bros coffee. It's not in my area. I think it's more of a Western thing, or a out west thing. But Bros, Dutch Bros is looking very, very good here. It looks like a simple basing breakout, but it is extended from the 10-day moving average. Keep an eye on it. The earnings, the EPS, and sales growth are both kicking ass and taking names. So if you like your coffee stocks, it look like this one is really taking shares from many other stocks. TDUP was another one that was brought up a little bit earlier. Let's see who was playing TDUP. Let me see. I like to give shout outs, you know. Oh yeah, Loke my bad, Loke. Yeah, Loke been playing TDUP. This thing's been crazy. This is kind of hard to take, but you know, you could see the trending breakout right here on the daily. What makes it hard is that it doesn't get tight. Like, it moves up and, you know, the moving averages just barely catch up and this thing starts taking off again. Awesome RS rating. You know, this thing's just screaming overbought in this area. But, you know, it's paying, but if you're trading this thing up here in this area, that's more day trading. I try to stick to swing trading and following that momentum, but, it is what it is. Make sure you guys don't smash, don't break nothing, but we have a poll out. We got 13 votes out there right now. 38% of you agree with me, Bitcoin with the gap up. Let me know if you don't like what other people are saying here. 38%. We got 31% as the SPY is most likely to lead tomorrow. If we get a gap down, it's probably going to be gold and Bitcoin, to be honest. Let's see. Chip Chaser Media Group says, can we look at the ESRQ? I don't have live charts on this account. Yeah, we can take a look, man. Are you just talking about the ES futures, or are you talking the, I don't know what the, let's see, ESRQ? I mean, if you're talking about the futures, we can just look at the ES right now and see where it's at. As you can see, we are still trading up above previous day's open. No, but we're still trading sideways. So we're still taking this news pretty damn well. Is that the stock? Is that what you wanted to take a peeky gander at? And I totally understand that, man. Sometimes you don't have that data. Another thing I wanted to look at was QBTS. Now, guys, Quantum is being crazy right now. And QBTS did have this basing breakout. It was probably one of the better looking stocks. I didn't hold on to the stock. I got in it, and as it pulled back down, I decided to cut my loss on this because I took a trade after I already mentioned it was extended. I got excited and I felt like I bought this more on emotion. So I decided to accept the loss and wait for proper basing. And we're going to see if, that was a good or bad trade. I know we have other people like Schwarzenberg playing this thing. Totally fine. I hope it works out for you. But when I got in this, I decided I need to just not hold this thing overnight. I'm not going to play with fire because I know that this, the quantum names can be very volatile and it's extended. I just couldn't play it. We also have IO and KO and RGTI. These things look really good. I love the trending. It's nice to slow grind up, heading right up into this area of resistance. But I feel like the EPS and sales growth could be better on all of these. We'll see. And, I got to give an honorable mention. B. Stewie brought this up to me too, but, there are still some gold and minor stocks that are still looking really well. And, if we look at gold, I called this top out, but I've been wrong many times before. It's right here on a 50-day moving average. That's institutional ownership. If they want to buy, we're going to see it happen. But it's got to get above this previous high. To me, that is a new lower high, which is just confirming my call in that top there. So we'll see what happens. But ARMN does look like it's setting up a trend area on a 21-day moving average. So if you like it, you like it, You want to see it on the 5-minute time frame? Yuck, bro. But yeah, we can do that. Let's take a look. 5-minute time frame. just for you, my dude. Let me, I got too many indicators on this. Looks yucky. Right here is your futures. Yep. It looks like it's getting ready to fall off a cliff right here, folks. 5,928 right here. If you zoom out on the 5-minute time frame, you can see this is our basing area. If we don't bounce from this area, I think it is clear we can head lower and find an area of support at 5,900. I think would be your next area if you're looking intraday. I like to look more on the hourly time frame. It gives me a little bit more of a clear understanding of where our levels are if we're gonna look intraday instead of daily. And yeah, you can kind of see it right here. We can even pull, you know, an anchored VWAP, you know, off this previous gap up, or better yet, let me go ahead and do a point of control on the volume here. We'll just pull it off of the previous high. And you can see, look, right here, guys, just like I said, 5,900 looks like the area of support. So if we do pull back, we do break this area and we pull down, I think our best case scenario would be a bounce off of 5,900 if you're playing this intraday. If you're playing this daily, we still have plenty of room to come back, plenty of room to pull down and see where we can bounce. But that point of control will be your first area, 5,900, but I still think we got plenty of room to pull back, even all the way down to the 10-day moving or 21-day moving average. So we'll see what happens there, but I still have high hopes for the overall market. But guys, I gotta say, I gotta give y'all a shout out. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. Thank you for being a big part of the show, and thank you for all the chats. We're gonna end the poll now. We got 38% of you saying Bitcoin is what is gonna lead us higher tomorrow. We will see. As you guys know, I absolutely love to learn. I absolutely love momentum trading, and we will learn and be like a sapling in the wind. We are gonna change the direction with the overall market, and with the market wants to hold up, continue higher, we're going to continue to take those trades. Huge shout out to all of you. We just ended that poll. We're going to go ahead and give you a shout out at the end of the show. So make sure if you made it to the end, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. And just another huge shout out, Norman Conklin. Dude, you have been supporting this channel for months now. Reach out to me. Let's get a time set up. I hope I can give you a little bit more than just this show. You were awesome. Thank you so much for supporting me. Carl Burr, G, all you guys, all the members, all my family, all my friends, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoy doing it for you. Peace. Shout out to each and every one of you. Beef Stew, thank you so much for being the moderator. Yosef, thank you so much for being a huge part of not just the show, but our Discord, and being able to bounce ideas off you is awesome. Jimmy Bright, thank you so much for your dedication to this channel. It is absolutely amazing, and I love having you beautiful people constantly show up. Love seeing the same names over and over again. Loke Doc, thank you so much for showing up once again and bringing some hot tickers into the building. Chip Chaser, first time here. Thank you so much for being here. I hope we earned your subscription. Join the community. It's absolutely free. Mama, I'm so pumped that you are going to be back in the great state of Michigan. And Jolene, huge shout out to you, Jolene. Thank you so much for sharing. I love the way you shared that trade with us. SVRB earnings EP took 1/4 off at 20% and 1/4 off at 40%. You sound like an absolute wizard, milady. But what would be a wizard? What's a wizard? I can't call you a witch, right? What's the opposite of wizard for a girl? Oh, but that is what you are. Okay, you're not a witch. That would just be rude. Shout out to you, Jolene. Much love, nothing but love. You're awesome. Let's see. G, I already shouted you out, but one more shout out for you, Carl Burr, Christina Harris. Thank you so much for popping in. I hope we earned your subscription. And what else we got? JFA, which is G. I'm going off my rocker today. Guys, thank you so much.